In today's video, we're going to be diving into the tropics where we still have Tropical Storm Brett and Tropical Storm Cindy. We're also going to be diving into the active weather that we have going on in the United States, especially the east and even more specifically the northeast, where we have tons and tons of precipitation on the way. Now, I'm very excited to announce to you guys today a new business endeavor that I am going in on with a partner. It's called Prestige Weather, and we're announcing this today as a weather consulting company and a community for all of you to join and get up-to-date information on the weather and one-on-one opportunities to talk to me and other forecasters as well about specific weather that you want to know about. We're also going to be hosting live streams in there, videos, weekly forecasts, so you can check it out in the description and pinned comment down below. It is $5 a month, which is extremely affordable, obviously, as there is no way to monetize that other than that, but it is a very affordable and very awesome weather product that we've been working on for months and months now. We are hosting an event 7 p.m. tonight. That's going to be Saturday, June 24th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to be talking about multiple topics. It's going to be a bit of a Q&A, so you guys can actually hop in there and ask us questions or whatever weather stuff you want to talk about, and we can go ahead and go over that. I felt like for a long time the YouTube algorithm, and I'm not going to talk too long, I promise you guys, but just hear me out. I feel like the YouTube algorithm has been really jacked up, and if you upload more than once a day, it really starts to hurt your channel. So this is an awesome way for me to talk about even more weather than I normally would be able to. Another problem is that if you go much longer than 10 minutes on the video, that also hurts the algorithm and therefore hurts your channel. And when that's your livelihood, it is very tough, and obviously you have to really pay attention to what is helping and hurting the channel. But this is going to be a good way for us to talk about things that we don't get to talk about on the channel. So we're going to be talking about things like the heat wave down in Texas, the droughts in the Northeast and the South Central United States. We're going to be talking about all of those things, possibly the upcoming El Nino or ongoing at this point. So we're going to be talking about a bunch of different stuff in there. So be sure to check it out using the website I've linked in the pinned comment and description down below, which will give you a detailed guide on how to join. Now, let's actually get into the weather forecast. I promise you the promo will not be that long every single day. That's just the announcement promo. Now, as we take a look at Cindy and Brett, we can see Brett is much further south and close to South America than originally anticipated. This is going to harm Brett and really break up that storm at this point. Cindy has a much more northern trajectory at this point, and we're going to be watching very closely for that northward trajectory towards Bermuda, perhaps, possibly bringing some indirect impacts to the East Coast as well that we'll need to talk about. So the cone forecast here for Tropical Storm Brett looks pretty dire for Brett. And as you can see, this is expected to remain a tropical storm until about 8 p.m. today, coming to an end at that point. Now, Tropical Storm Cindy here is expected to remain a tropical storm into early to mid next week, before going in towards more of a post-tropical cyclone, eventually downgrading to post-tropical depression by Wednesday at 8 a.m. as it approaches Bermuda, as you can see. If it was to take a much more western trajectory on the west and kind of southwest side of that cone, we could be talking about more of an east coast impact, or if it was to take a more eastern end here of that cone, it could actually be even sparing Bermuda. So there is some wide variety of options here on the table, and we are going to talk about Cindy every single day and inside the Prestige Weather community as well, so be sure to check that out again, like we said. Now, as we get into the modeled guidance just for the upcoming weather across the upcoming pattern, as you can see by later this afternoon, we have more storminess on the way for the East Coast, and especially the further north up the East Coast you go, the more precipitation we're going to be seeing. So that northeast drought that we're going to be talking about is much more in the past than in the current, because it is basically coming to an end with the extreme amounts of precipitation that has been going on. But climate-wise, the Northeast has been trending drier and drier every single year. It's amazing to me how that is becoming a drier part of the country than it once was, in my opinion. As we take a look at the northern plains and the Rockies, we do have storm number 2 coming in, and this will eventually bring impacts to the east as well. As we reach Sunday, we can see that there is still some storminess left over for the east here, but storm number 2 is really drawing in near. And by Monday, this will be bringing direct impacts to the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, and the Southeast here as it approaches that eastern seaboard. As we keep going towards Tuesday here on the 27th, we can see this low is right over Lake Erie, and we have a lot of precipitation still going on for the Mid-Atlantic, the Southeast, and the Northeast here by Tuesday the 27th. by the time we reach Wednesday, the 28th here, we can see that this is pretty much northward here towards the Canadian New York border there, and we still see some storms up and down that east coast from this, but this is actually taking a more northern trajectory by mid to late week and actually moves up into Canada by Thursday, and we see some impacts left over, perhaps some scattered thunderstorms for the Northeast and New England, but for the most part this is dying down by the time we're reaching late June. We do see storm number 3 moving in by the time we're reaching about the Friday, Saturday timeframe, which will be the 30th into the 1st. So we see for the Great Lakes here a low. We see this next low has gone ahead and moved over as I received a Facebook message, if you heard that, so sorry about that. As we keep going, Saturday the 1st here, as we're finally moving into July, which is hard to believe, we see this low over the Great Lakes. We see that there is plenty of storminess here for the Northeast still left over. We see some more thunderstorms trending in here for the central states, so we're seeing that going on there. And then by Sunday the 2nd here, we can see some scattered about thunderstorms here for the deeper south, the southeast, and then for the northeast here, we can see more and more storms moving in up there for the northeast region. Now by Monday the 3rd of July, we are seeing a little bit more of a scattered about typical summertime day here for the kind of Gulf of Mexico area along that eastern seaboard as well. This is going to be much less persistent and a lot more just scattered about, like I mentioned. The total precipitation here, as you can see, there is plenty expected for the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and even the north central United States, and then up and down the East Coast. We can see for the Southeast, the Mid-Atlantic, and the Northeast, we're seeing quite a bit. But I would say the most is here for New England in the Northeast, where we're seeing anywhere from about 2 to 5, maybe even 5 to 10 there in those browns. So certainly a far above average amount of precipitation overall for those folks. Now the total snowfall here for the Rockies, we are seeing a dusting to maybe a couple of inches here throughout Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, and Colorado. So still winter is around. Winter is very much still in effect for those mountaintops, and this is later ending than we typically seen, as this has been a very, very cold winter so far compared to normal. But speaking of that, we actually do see some warming in the future. Again, we've been dealing with a heat wave for Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and I don't want to ever downplay that. By calling for colder than normal conditions, I always meant this pocket here that you can see the cold air. Never once intended for that to come across as the area that's actually seeing historic warmth there in Texas, New Mexico, and Oklahoma. Both coasts at this point dealing with colder than normal conditions, though, as you can see. Now, by the time we're reaching kind of mid to late week, we can see for the southeast, we do see a warmer pattern moving in. So this is for Saturday the 1st, maybe our first 90s for a lot of folks here in the Mid-Atlantic, which is hard to believe because usually we see a lot more 90 days than we've seen, and we might go the whole month of June without seeing it for a lot of folks. Things are looking very warm as well through the 3rd, and even for the 4th of July, we're going to get a look here. But it does look quite warm, so possibly a very hot 4th of July, and maybe our first heat wave of the summer here for the East is going to be anywhere from that 1st through the 4th timeframe of July. Now, things stay quite warm, but we do see some cooling trends throughout the upcoming pattern. For instance, near the 10th here, we see the blues returning. So I do still expect the summer to overall be cooler than normal, but we are seeing a warming trend versus what we saw in June, which was just historically cold compared to normal. So definitely a far cry from what we had seen in the past. Anyway, be sure to check out the Prestige weather in the description and the pinned comment down below. Again, you don't have to join, but at least check it out and see if it's for you. I think that we've built this to be a really, really great product for almost anybody, so I'm sure that you will at least consider it. So be sure to check that out today. It is really awesome, and we've been working on it since probably March on kind of behind closed doors, because obviously I've kept the lips sealed about it and nobody's known anything about it until today, which is exactly how I wanted it to be, a big surprise event. So if you want to join that for even more weather content, again, it's $5 a month and you can cancel at any time. So if you don't like it after the first month, it only costs about as much as a coffee from Starbucks, which shouldn't even cost that much in the first place, but that is what it is. So you can check it out for the price of a coffee. And if it's not for you, that's okay, but I'm pretty sure it will be. So give it a chance, check it out. Be sure to subscribe for more videos just like this one. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video as well and leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.